Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. The curse of the Adelson family, matriarch Donna Adelson, was officially sentenced today. She appeared wearing a bluish-purplish jail uniform and a rather glum expression. Her 81-year-old husband, Harvey, was present, dressed in a dapper suit and tie and wearing his usual scowl. Daughter Wendy Adelson was not in court, and she did not offer any words in support of her mother's character via a letter or other statement. Son Rob was also not in court, and he too did not attempt to speak or write about his mother's character. The Markels, Ruth, Phil, and Shelley were not in court, but they did watch via Zoom. They did not speak, but of course they gave their victim impact statements when Donna was convicted. I'm pretty sure the Markels were incensed by the shit show that Harvey and Donna and their loyal friends put on. Several of Donna's friends made statements on her behalf, and some sent letters attesting to what a good person she is and how she's incapable of participating in a murder, such as the one that took Donna's former son-in-law, Dan Markel, took his life on July 18th of 2014. The most interesting words came from both Harvey and Donna Adelson. I'm going to share those portions of today's sentencing at the end of this video. Both Donna and Harvey insisted on their innocence, no surprise there. Harvey spoke very loudly, very aggressively, and very angrily. Dude's got a chip on his shoulder. He basically blamed the judge and the jury, everybody but Donna. Among the words Harvey said were, quote, "She's done nothing wrong, but is being punished for a crime that she did not commit. She has always been a loving wife and mother." Harvey then accused the judge and the jury of being biased. Judge Everett cut Harvey off, saying it had nothing to do with Donna's character. Then Donna's attorney, Jackie Fulford, took Harvey's prepared letter and marked out a large swath of it. Jackie Fulford. Just want to make sure I said that right. Harvey went on to say to the judge, quote, "You're sending an innocent person to prison. You have taken my wife and my life as well. And for what? This is not justice. This is vengeance, and it is wrong." End quote. So Harvey continues to pretend that Donna was not involved in Dan Markel's death. Clearly, Charlie Adelson and Wendy Adelson not always telling the truth is something that maybe was nurtured into them by their parents. Donna put on quite the show. She egregiously used her murdered son-in-law, Dan Markel, to try and convince the judge that she did not participate in his murder. Her words were embellished by free-flowing crocodile tears. It was the act of a lifetime. Donna said, quote, "My son-in-law, Dan Markel, was a fine and decent man. He was a good son-in-law. More importantly, he was a caring and loving father. His death is a loss to his children, his parents, all of us in his family, his friends, his colleagues in the legal community, and his students at FSU Law School. My heart was broken when Danny died." Okay, the parts of that where she praises Dan Markel, those are all true words that other people would say about Dan Markel, but I doubt that Donna would say that. She went on to say, quote, "It's interesting that the state cannot decide who they believe to be the mastermind behind this." Donna then listed Catherine McBanoa's and Charlie Adelson's trials, saying that the state claimed they were the masterminds. Donna said, quote, "They claim that I, this grandma, was the mastermind behind this murder. Where is the evidence prior to the murder?" End quote. Judge Everett then stopped Donna, asking if the defense is trying to retry the case. He also warned Donna that, quote, "The court can take into consideration the utter lack of remorse you are displaying." Donna thought about that for a split second and then continued questioning the evidence. She rudely said that perhaps the jury was asleep during some of the state's evidence. Nice, Donna. Insult the jurors, just like your son did, just like you did after your son was convicted. Donna said, quote, "Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. I've never even gotten a parking ticket, and yet I'm being sent to prison for a crime I did not commit. I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way in Dan's murder. I was not," end quote. I think Donna doesn't mind swearing on her life at this point because, of course, she is sentenced to spend the rest of it in prison, a place she doesn't want to be. So she can easily say, "I swear to you on my life, my miserable, sad life." Now, during today's hearing, the prosecutors stated that they are seeking more than $723,000 to cover the costs of prosecution in Donna's case. A final order is pending review of the defense's request for supporting documentation. The Markel family now has the option to file a civil wrongful death suit against the Adelsons. So far, there's no public record of a civil lawsuit being filed. And what's next in this case? Well, I've heard attorneys on YouTube saying that they believe Wendy Adelson will soon be charged, and some are even saying that that will happen before Thanksgiving. As Georgia Kappelman would say, stay tuned. Now you stay tuned for Harvey and Donna's statements. Get your popcorn and a glass of wine or your beverage of choice. This is pretty good stuff.
Very well. Do you wish to enter these letters into evidence?
Yes, Judge.
Does the state have any objections?
No, Your Honor.
They will be composite defense 1 for sentencing.
Thank you, Judge.
Dr. Adelson, please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
You can lower your hand. You may speak.
Thank you, Judge, and respected officers of the court for allowing me to speak. I have been Donna Adelson's husband for over 50 years. My wife sacrificed everything so that she could pour her heart and soul into our children, our grandchildren, and our marriage. This summer was our 54th wedding anniversary, and I had to spend it without her, hand in mind. She has done nothing wrong, and yet is being punished for a crime that she did not commit. I thought we lived in a different kind of world, but I guess I was wrong. I have listened, watched, and sat in the courtroom for the entire trial, and I could not help but scream in my mind by the witnesses that were brought forward by the prosecution who told outright lies. I didn't know that you could lie in a courtroom, but apparently you can. Danny's parents contend that they have never seen their grandchild. But for years they say they've never seen her. But Wendy has shared with me pictures and videos and letters from their visits. They have suffered immensely at the loss of their son, but they also contend to tell lies to the court about our grandchildren. Donna has always been a loving and caring wife and is innocent of the charges. A biased judge and jury were influenced by years of one-sided news pieces and social media.
Doctor, Ms. Fulford, this has nothing to do with the character of the defendant or relates to sentencing.
May I just 1 moment, please?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh,
Just 1 second, please.
Donna did not participate in the heinous acts that she was convicted of doing. You are sending an innocent woman to prison. You have taken my wife and you have taken my life as well. And for what? This is not justice. It is vengeance, and it is wrong.
You have an examination for Dr. Adelson.
No, Your Honor. No, Judge.
Any other witness statements that you wish to give?
I don't believe so, just one second. I need to speak loudly because this is not amplified, just.
Okay. Is this loud enough, Judge?
I can hear you.
Thank you for letting me speak. My son-in-law, Dan Markel, was a fine and decent man. He was well educated and passionate about his career. He was a good son-in-law, but more importantly, he was a caring and loving father. On July 18th, 2014, his car was followed, leaving his home. It should have been just like any other day, an ordinary day in the life of Ben and Lincoln's father, but it wasn't. He didn't know when he left his boys off at daycare that would be the last time he would see them, and the last time they would see him. He didn't know when he went to the gym afterwards that would be the last time he would exercise. And he didn't know when he drove home that his life would end within minutes. Danny wasn't just being followed, he was being hunted. He was brutally murdered in broad daylight, sitting in his car, in his garage, by vicious killers. I cannot imagine the terror he felt when he saw a gun pointed at him through the window of his car. I cannot conceive of his heroic efforts to stay alive during the hours after the attack. Danny died in the early morning hours of July 19th. His death is a loss to his children, his parents, his sister, all of us in his family, his friends, his colleagues in the legal community, and to his students at FSU Law School. Danny's boys each have a photo of themselves with their Abba, their dad, beside their beds. They grew up kissing the framed photo and saying, "Good night, Abba, I love you." But pictures and memories are all they have because cruel, cold-hearted people took him from all of us who loved him. My heart was broken when Danny died. My grandsons were going to grow up without the father who loved them. I wondered, how could we help these boys through this trauma? It was then that my husband and I knew that the best way to honor Danny's memory would be to share with these children an abundance of love, the love that Danny would have given them if he were alive. It is interesting how the state can't make up its mind about who is what they call the, quote, mastermind behind this murder. In both of Catherine Magbanaw's trials, the state claimed she was the mastermind behind Danny's murder. In my son Charlie Adelson's trial, they claimed he was the mastermind. And now in my trial, they claimed that I, this grandma, was the mastermind behind the murder. I had no idea that other people planned to cut Danny's life short. And the people who did this are exactly where they deserve to be. But I had no knowledge that this horrible, evil act was going to take place. If I had become aware of this plan before Danny was murdered, I would have stopped it. With not one iota of actual evidence, the state convinced a Tallahassee jury that I solicited and conspired with other people to have Danny killed. Where is the evidence prior to the murder, the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the state needed to prove their case. Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 in the morning?
Before you continue,
That
Mrs.
reveal-
Adelson, as it relates to this statement, is the defense trying to re-argue the trial?
No, Judge, just giving Mrs.
I-
Adelson an opportunity to be heard.
Mrs. Adelson, you certainly can continue. However, the court can take into consideration the utter lack of remorse that you are displaying. Please proceed if you desire to do so.
Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 a.m. that revealed that I had any involvement in this vile and horrific act? Where is the solicitation and conspiracy evidence? The state needed to show that there was evidence before the murder to convict me. The state couldn't show that because there wasn't any evidence. They were trying an innocent person. It makes you wonder if the jurors were sleeping when the state had Sergeant Corbett on the stand for hours. Their own star witness testified that my phone was never, I repeat, never at my son's house on the night of the murder. The state's theory that my husband and I dropped off money to my son was blown out of the water by their own witness. And yet, the state continued to push that story, that lie of the so-called money drop, to the jury through the remainder of the trial. And the jury bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. Reasonable doubt. Many months ago, my attorneys filed a motion for a change of venue. An expert witness testified that Tallahassee had been barraged with over 9 years of negative social media, printed news, television news, and podcast publicity about my family. He explained to the court, both with evidence and demonstratives, that for me to receive a fair trial, it needed to be held in any of the researched and designated areas in the state of Florida other than Tallahassee. All I wanted was a level playing field, but the court wanted the trial here in the hotbed of Tallahassee. I sat through 3 days of jury selection. 180 potential jurors were asked if they had developed an opinion in my case. Those that answered yes also added, "I believe she is guilty." Not one person, not one, said, "I think she may be innocent." That should have been a clue to the court to grant our motion for a change of venue, but the court denied the motion. One of my jurors admitted during jury selection that she had background information concerning what one of the state's witnesses would be testifying about. Why was she allowed to be on my jury?
What moment?
Another juror,
Mrs. Fulford,
oh, I didn't hear you.
Mr. Zellman, again, this has nothing to do with elocution of any sort. This is a raising of grievances, which are properly given to the appellate court. What does any of this have to do with sentencing?
Could I have just one moment, please?
Turn that phone off or step out. move on.
May we proceed, Judge?
Please.
What happened to Danny is unforgivable. But I am an innocent woman convicted of this terrible crime without evidence. Danny was a brilliant legal scholar. He would have been appalled at the total lack of justice that went on during my trial. He would have been embarrassed to have his name associated with any of it. There are two crimes here. The first was Danny being viciously murdered. The second one is taking my life, the life of an innocent woman. Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. That is not justice for Dan. I've always respected the law. I've never gotten a parking ticket, but I'm going to prison for a murder I did not commit. I do intend to file an appeal so that hopefully I have the opportunity to be given a fair trial outside of Tallahassee. 11 years ago, Danny was murdered and taken from all of us who loved him. For the past 9.5 years, the state has broadcast to the world, including Danny's parents and sister, that I hired hitmen to kill him. Never in a million years would I have wanted Danny to be harmed or killed, nor could I ever do something that would leave these two small boys to grow up without him. I love these boys more than life itself. This is a lifetime of loss for these children. They didn't deserve this. His family didn't deserve this. Danny didn't deserve this. And so, as I appear before you today, Your Honor, I promise you with my whole heart, I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way with Danny's murder. I was not.
Defense have any further argument to make?
Yes, Judge.
Markel to fruition was significant in this case. These were not crimes of chance or opportunity, and these crimes also required you to conspire with your son and others. You certainly can choose to deny your involvement and maintain innocence. The court finds the evidence in this case is clear. You will be sentenced accordingly this afternoon. The jury has found you guilty on charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and solicitation to commit first-degree murder, and the court previously adjudicated you guilty as to these same charges on September 4th of this year. On count 1 of the indictment for first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or release pursuant to sections 782.04 and 775.082 sub 1 sub a Florida statutes. On count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to 30 years in the Department of Corrections that will run consecutive to count 1. The court will also sentence you to 30 years in the Department of Corrections On count 3, counts 2 and 3 are to run concurrent with each other, but consecutive to count 1.